Hi guys, it's Dave, and today I am making a video about installing Windows XP or any kind of Windows, because this tutorial will is the same for both Vista and Windows 7 as well, on a Mac. In this case, it is my MacBook Pro 13-inch. The reason I'm doing this video is because, as I said in my last video, which was a full review of the machine, that I am going to install Windows in order to show how well the gaming performances of the NVIDIA 9400M, which is the graphics card that's in this machine. And I figured while I'm doing that, I may as well make a video about it. So there's a couple of things that you're going to need before you get started and install Windows. There's an application which comes with Leopard, of course, which is called Bootcamp. Bootcamp is the partitioning program which will allow your Mac to create a FAT32 or NTFS partition. Well, actually, specifically, it's FAT32, but it can be, it begins as NTFS, but as long as it's no bigger than a 32 gig partition, you can make it into FAT32. So anyway, not to get too complicated with it, NTFS is always the best, and you'll choose that when you restart with the Windows XP bootloader system when you're getting that together. And if you choose FAT32, basically you can't go above 32 gigs, but NTFS is always better because you can go much larger, and because it's faster as well. The advantage of going with FAT32 is that the Mac will be able to read and write to both. It cannot do that if you just choose NTFS. So anyway, I'm going to zoom in here just a little bit because I want you to be able to see what I'm looking at. Okay, so what you want to do is go into your Utilities folder here on your Mac and choose Bootcamp Assistant. I'm just going to close this window behind. It's going to say Bootcamp Assistant helps you install Microsoft Windows XP or Windows Vista operating systems on an Intel Mac computer. Blah 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 blah. It recommends you to print out this documentation, but it's really rather easy, so we're not going to bother with that. We're just going to click on the Continue button, which is in the bottom right hand corner. It says, create a Windows partition. Each operating system requires its own partition on the disk. Drag the divider to the size of the partition or click on one of the buttons. You can divide equally, which you press this button here. It'll split the hard drives between. On the left hand side we have our OS X side, and on this side will be the Windows side. Now there's no way I'm going to do that. There is a total of, let me see exactly how much space I have on this computer. I think it's 106 gigs free, 107 gigs free on this computer here, just check there. 107 gigs free, so because I went for the basic MacBook Pro 160 gig hard drive, because I'm probably going to stick in a solid state hard drive in it when the prices come down next year, so I don't need a huge amount of space personally. So I'm going to give it, let me see, I'm going to go for 46 gigs on the Windows side and 61 gigs on the Mac OS X side. It's very important to make sure you have sufficient space to do this on the OS X side. If you have an insufficient amount of free space on the OS X side, it will slow down the computer quite considerably actually, but as long as you have over 10 gigs you should be fine. Windows is going to be 46 gigs. That's exactly the same size that I chose when I was installing Windows on my iMac. Okay, very simply now, I'm going to go down here, I'm going to click on the partition button, and this is going to immediately start. Now it would be nice actually, to be fair, if OS X alerted you and said, are you sure you wish to create this partition? Because I've accidentally done this as well. But anyway, it's creating that partition now, and that's going to take a few minutes. Obviously it's dependent on the size of the partition you're creating, but it will take a good few minutes. Partitions are extremely quick to delete, but they take a good bit longer to create. So you know, they're no length at all. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and make sure that when you're doing this, as I always say, that you plug in the power adapter, that you actually plug in your MagSafe connector, and that you're powering your Mac off the mains if you're doing this on a notebook. Obviously it's not the same if you're doing it on a Mac Mini, Mac Pro or iMac, but just make sure it is powered in, because this kind of process, that will take some time, and that's important. And if there was, hypothetically, if your battery went dead during any kind of installation or major hard drive changes like this, you could potentially damage the tracks on your OS X partition as well. Anyway, so we're going to leave that for a few minutes, and due to the magic of editing, I'll come back to you as soon as it's done. Okay, we're actually done now, and that only took a couple more minutes. It didn't take that long at all. And it says start Windows installation, insert your Windows installation disk and start installation. Now we're going to get to that in a second. You'll need an authentic 32-bit Windows XP Home Edition or Professional with Service Pack 2 or later, or Windows Vista Home Basic, Home Premium Business or Ultimate Disk. After you've installed and set up Windows, insert your Mac OS X Leopard disk, install installation drivers. Yeah, we'll get to that anyway, it's not a big problem. You'll notice over here there is a new little hard drive icon that's popped up on the Mac OS X desktop. It's called Bootcamp. It's completely blank, it's formatted for NTFS, and it's 46 gigs. So anyway, that means that the Macintosh HD hard drive has been reduced by 46 gigs. Anyway, there you go, just thought I'd tell you that. Just quickly say this, if you're going to do this via if you're going to do this via Parallels or what's the other one, VMware Fusion, your partition space can increase by itself, would you believe, whenever it needs additional space. But in this case we're locked to that 46 gigs, and that's the total amount of space that we're allotting for Windows. So there you have it. But first we have to install a genuine OEM copy of Windows XP or Vista or Windows 7 or whatever you're going to do, and then we just insert that and click Start Installation. Okay, fine. So the Mac is now going to restart. This is going to be a two-part video no matter what. Okay, so we have restarted the Mac. Okay, so the Windows setup is started up, and you can see it on the bottom here. And well, you can see it's looking at drivers, it's looking at different devices in the computer, it's loading files from the disk. It hasn't actually begun the installation proper now. This is more or less a series of checks and things like that. So this is going to be a temporary installation of Windows that I've chosen to put on purely to show you to demonstrate the NVIDIA 9400M and how well the graphics are. Because all the games I have are for Windows, not for OS X. Obviously natively that will be different, but this is just the way we're going to have to do it. Also, it will be interesting to see how well the machine performs in general on Windows XP. We know that the battery life of this incredible battery that's in this computer, which lasts at least 7 hours, I've gotten more in OS X, will not run the same, will not run as well in Windows, unfortunately. Some people say that's either because Windows is a power hog. I actually believe it could be driver related. Certainly it's expected to improve substantially under Windows 7 conditions. Whether Apple really cared too much about providing really good driver support for Windows XP, it's debatable. Regardless, we'll be able to see how well this performs very soon. This is going to be a two-part video, as I say, so I'm going to continue this up in part 2, and I'll upload them around the same time, so stay tuned.